Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has become a person of interest to Interpol. Rowley is placing blame on being on an Interpol watch list on Kamla Sessa and John Jeremy. Rowley is currently wondering what did he do in his public or personal life to be placed in such a situation. Now I am also wondering, what did Rowley really do? Because one just doesn't end up on an Interpol watch list just so. And it's highly unlikely that Kamla Sessa not being a fan of yours or your previous government could get you on an Interpol watch list. Honestly, it could be your deeds. Maybe your chickens coming home to roost. All you go let me know what y'all think about this story. Rowley on an Interpol watch list. Wow. Never thought I'd see the day. A man in connection with the murder of Candice Anoy was held by police in Sandy Grande. Last week, the 22-year-old's dismembered body was found in a suitcase and dumped into a pond. It's been reported that the man hired a taxi, as well as used a neighbor with a wheelbarrow to help move the suitcase before dumping it into the pond. Right now, we breed in a society of men that cannot take rejection or cannot afford to get their feelings hurt. Seek help. And I would really like to advocate to the government to have more programs for men to seek out help for their mental health. Because when you really think about it, how many programs are there for men? Right? Where we going to go? To the bar? Because the next generation coming up and they are looking. And it is proven that things get worse from generation to generation. I'll let me know what y'all think about this story. Prime Minister Kamla Sessa said she found it necessary to call a state of emergency as she would not stand idly by as a minority of armed individuals threaten the people of Trinidad and Tobago. She said for years as opposition leader, she asked the government to call a state of emergency, not as a political gimmick, but as a way of fighting back against the crime situation. Sure, Kamla, sure. It didn't seem that way when your Homeland Security Minister, Roger Alexander, basically told the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to hold a strain and decided to arm wrestle on camera instead of facing that citizens of this country are dying. But how dare someone target key government officials? How dare they? We should shut down the country for that, right? Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story. A state of emergency is set to be in effect as of today due to an emerging threat that targets politicians and key officials. However, no curfew has been recommended to restrict movement. More details of this story is still emerging and more details will be released soon. Only I have a question. Which politician, whether it be UNC or PNM, would you least want as a neighbor? And what does that say about their leadership? Only go let me know. The body of a missing woman was found dismembered and stuffed into a suitcase, wrapped in plastic and dumped into a pond. The body has been identified as 22-year-old Candice Anoy, who was reported missing earlier this month. This is truly a horrible act, and 2025 is turning out to be a year very unsafe for women. Even with the change in governance, I must ask, what has really changed? Is it us as a country that has turned away from God and gone down a wrong path? I just don't know. Condolences goes out to the family. Ollie, I have a question. Which member of the UNC-led government or the opposition best represents nation building or national pride? Or you go let me know. The Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, says in the coming weeks, expect a more visible plan to fight crime. Under the UNC-led government, 80+ murders have been recorded so far. As the minister admits, crime usually increases during the August vacation. He also stated that the campaign promises to tackle crime is still on course. Honestly, we do have weeks. Crime is happening now. When you all sold us these promises, you all sold it as a plan already strategized. And yes, nothing happens overnight, but more needs to be done. Your salary do not have to wait when the month comes. So why us, as the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, have to wait? Especially when the last government promised us the same rhetoric as well. Y'all go let me know what y'all think. A 45-year-old woman was kidnapped in front of her husband and son in Valsain. Janky Karim and her family were ambushed by 3 armed masked men and forced into their vehicle. Her husband was robbed of his phone, cash, and the family's Toyota Hilux. The vehicle has since been recovered. However, police are still searching for the missing mother. A video has gone viral on social media showing maggots on the table of the Asilium Bar and Lounge, located on Arapita Avenue. On the video, several maggots can be seen crawling on the table. However, the bar and lounge insisted that the maggots did not originate at their establishment. Despite the maggots, the patrons were still required to pay their bill. Now this is just nastiness. Maggots crawling on the table where people had their food, and you all still had the gall to ask the people to pay their bill? That shows bad customer service on top
of all your nastiness. This situation could have been dealt with a lot better than this, but in the video, it showed that y'all wanted to be wrong and strong. So who in their right mind going and eat at all your establishment? Again, I really hope all you get all your act together, because this in it. This is just nastiness. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story, and are y'all going to ever eat at a Cillian bar and lounge ever again after this video? Y'all go let me know.
The government is set to make it mandatory for all citizens to walk with a form of ID at all times. This will help police to enforce the proposed changes concerning the new legal age limit to consume alcohol, marijuana, and to gamble. The Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, says the new laws will be enforced by the police. This is totally dumb. There must be an easier way to enforce these new laws than inconveniencing everyone. So you're telling me, if I go into the parlor to buy a snack, why go into the savannah to kick ball? I have to walk with my ID. Why doesn't this just apply to people who want to enter an establishment that sells alcohol or permits gambling? Trinidad and Tobago is not a police state, and this is just another way for police to harass the poor citizens of this country. All you go let me know what y'all think.
The PNM is declaring a war against the UNC government for the firing of thousands of workers, which they say has left parents under financial stress. The opposition leader, Penelope Beckles, has accused the government of creating hardship for families as they no longer have the income to provide school supplies. For somebody named Penny, you're not making any sense. Do you know what is a declaration of war? Whoever is advising you, Penelope, I really hope you fire them, because they do have your best interest at heart. Because when the PNM did the same by closing down Petrotrin, you were very quiet. But now, you want to declare war for 10,000 workers, and 6,000 of them may be ghosts. The fact that you're willing to fight any fight, no matter how foolish it looks, I really can't see you being opposition leader for too long. I'm being honest. Or you go let me know what you all think. Prime Minister Kamla Sessa has announced that police protection will be deployed at high-risk schools during the new school term. The Prime Minister has asked the Education Minister for a list of high-risk schools using data of suspensions and school injuries. Madam Prime Minister, this will only address the symptoms and not the problems. Plus, this is not a new idea. These plans usually start off hot and sweaty, and within a month, no police could be seen in sight of these schools. A lot of these problems start at home. Parents are working during these hard economic times and cannot spend enough time with their children. A lot of children are studying trends and dealing with the changes in their bodies and depression, and treating children like criminals can never solve the problem, Madam Prime Minister. We need to get down to the root of the problem. You go let me know what you all think about this story.
Ahead of the UNC's internal elections, Barry Padarat has thrown his support behind Prime Minister Kamla Sessa, rejecting leadership ambitions. Prime Minister Kamla Sessa has declared that she will run for the position again that she has held since 2010. Well, Barry Padarat is not a stupid man. He knows that he cannot say anything differently because Kamla Sessa has a history of ousting potential threats. But Kamla needs to realize that potentially she may be the glue that is holding the party together. And if she doesn't want the UNC to end up like the PNM party, we all see how dysfunctional they are right now. She needs to introduce a successor soon. Or, just like she did to Basdio Pandey, someone will potentially do it to her. You go let me know what you all think about this story. Prime Minister Kamla Sessa will raise the legal drinking age to 21 years and over, while gambling and marijuana use will be set for persons 25 years and over. She cited the harmful effects of marijuana use on the youths and the harms of alcoholism and gambling. I don't see a problem with this because a lot of other countries practice this for practical reasons. A lot of people reach the age of 18 but are not responsible enough to drink. However, having the laws is good, but in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a big problem with imposing our laws. So what do you all think about the legal age of drinking, gambling, and marijuana use being raised? Or you go let me know. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander says that the police service must embrace technology as a key tool to tackle crime. He says in order to impact, police officers must be visible, and the Trinidad and Tobago National Operations Center is underutilized and needs to be revitalized. He says a man that does not see technology in policing is not ready to be a police officer. Look at you, proving to Trinidad and Tobago that you're not just big and stupid by telling us the obvious. It's very funny that someone who was a police officer just a few months ago was against technology like body cameras, but now you're singing the praises of it. And this is why Trinidad and Tobago is in the situation we are in. This technology is not new. This technology has been out for years, decades even. But it's been moving on a snail back in Trinidad and Tobago. Why? It's not a new thought that police officers need to be visible and not in the station taking AC. This is not a new thought. Many national security ministers have come out to the public and said this before. Still, nothing has happened. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story. To me, it's so funny that people become ministers and become Captain Obvious all of a sudden. Y'all go let me know what y'all think. Faris Alwari claims that government's proposal to set an age limit of 25 years old for marijuana use will end up targeting African youths. He claims 97% of the target audience is going to be young Afro-Trinidadian males. To be honest with you, most youths of all races experiment with smoking marijuana. So I would love to see the research done where Faris arrived at 97%. Because Afro-Trinidadians are not the only race smoking marijuana. And if we're talking data, it is proven that the brain fully matures at 25 years old. And marijuana use can have a significant effect on brain development. And I've never respected the fact that politicians continuously use race to push an agenda. Because marijuana is not destroying communities. It's the war against it that is doing the destruction. Legalize the thing already. The body of missing Kerry Adams was discovered in a garden in Arima earlier today. The body was found by a farmer around midday. The 35-year-old man was last seen on Saturday. Over the weekend, a female relative got a call that he was kidnapped. A ransom of $15,000 was demanded for his safe return and paid by a female relative. Condolences goes out to the family. Prime Minister Kamla Sesser has not attended the Heads of Government meeting in Jamaica due to national issues. However, the Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sean Sobers, is representing Trinidad and Tobago. Father Lord, this is one of the problems I had with the appointment of Roger Alexander as the Minister of Homeland Security. And just the fact that we have to send the remedial minister to represent Trinidad and Tobago amongst the region's best and brightest is very scary. The only thing he could do now is just stay quiet, look strong, and hopefully he doesn't make Trinidad and Tobago look foolish. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story. The bodies of two men were discovered in a forested area in Moruga with gunshot wounds. The bodies were found by a farmer on his way to his garden early this morning off Simon Trace in St. Mary's. The bodies are yet to be identified. A police officer shot a woman after warning her about dancing with anyone at a club. Akil Hippolyte was charged today with the shooting of a 35-year-old woman. The officer, who is a friend of the woman's child's father, warned the woman about dancing with anyone at the club. Moments later, she was shot in her left eye. Mr. Commissioner of Police, this is what we're going to give officers guns to go home with to do? If so, expect a lot more situations like this, or worse. So before you make such a drastic decision to give officers guns to go home with, please do mental checks on your officers. I beg you. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story. Members of the opposition joined CPEP workers during a staged protest in Port of Spain. The opposition leader, Penelope Beckles, said this protest sent a clear message to those in authority. However, due to security arrangements for India's Prime Minister, protesters were unable to approach the Red House. This is what we call in Trinidad and Tobago a pappy show. Because why are workers protesting when it was the contractors that lost the contracts? And clearly, the PNM are looking for some kind of support from the people. But this is horrible PR. And all I could think is, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Because where was this support for the people when you all were in power? And just remember, when they jump up with you for 5 to 10 minutes protesting, they going back home to the big mansions. So be very careful of who pretend to be for you. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story.
Financial abuse, emotional labor. That is an imbalance of emotional labor. The fourth one was infidelity. That's the top 4 reasons why women are divorcing men today. Right? The 5th one I gave earlier was imbalance of physical labor in the household. And the 6th one, if you want 6, is irreconcilable differences. That's the last on the list.
Well,
Right, so
Amber, let me
okay.
war Jedi speak, and then we bring back in Viper again.
Hold on, wait. Let me get us real clear when we're talking about feminism here. Feminism has brought us the ability to be able to learn in schools. Feminism has
Right.
brought us to be able to get our work. Feminism has been able to get us land, housing, etc. Feminism has benefited society and will forever benefit society. Give us a little bit of chance to catch up. We will catch up eventually, right? What
Men, we kill women. You know, I mean, we take things to a level that women don't do. So yeah, I can understand that fear that they have, and we as men should appreciate that point.
Thank
Of
you.
No, they kill be rape as well.
yeah,
Thank you.
why women believe these things and why they would act a certain way, why they wouldn't be comfortable giving out a number, going in a car at night. So another
Yeah.
point to that, and
Thank
it's
you.
not to deflect away from men. What they do is that people don't tell us. You mentioned a chance, or it's the internet, right? People hide behind masks, hide behind profiles and stuff. People
Yeah.
don't tell us the evil that they do. They don't tell us everything. So look at here was a man who raped a woman in Sugar. If he had come and tell us that he going and do that, we would have reported him to the police. We can do
Correct.
something, but they don't tell us the things that they're going and do. When we're talking about domestic violence, those tasked with the responsibility of that, the judiciary, the judges, the police.
That person to say that, oh, you're beating you, or this, they're raping you, this, all of that, is the same way for any young children actually being in a relationship, go through situations like that as well. And I feel like men, they like to excuse their behavior of other men as well. Not all of them, I'm not saying not all men, but majority of the time. They would like to excuse their toxic behavior and try to say that, oh, well, that's boys could be boys. Like, I can remember when I was in standard four, right? I am sitting in the front of the class. It had a group of boys who would sit behind me constantly throughout the whole term. They would kick behind my chair and like come behind me in a this way, like jerking, like they like they in this kind of sexual way, right? And then I would complain to my teacher about it, who was a male, older male, and he would be like, it's just boys, we'll take it on. But that would make me feel a type of way as though. So since then, boys